I feel like every week since 2019 began has gotten progressively more news. Like, I'm not even kidding. The last few weeks, I've been sitting here writing these up going like, wow, this is an absurd amount of news, and this isn't even everything, I'm sure. So guys, I hope you're buckled into your stroller right now because we got a hell of a ride this weekend. Yes, we finally have new information on Ascent Infinite Realm. It's brief, but it's here. The team behind Air have taken the time to show us screenshots of the new City in the Sky Inventus, a large ship that was initially used as an evacuation ship. Additionally, a YouTuber called Sir Medieval, who actually makes pretty entertaining content by the way, so small shout out to him, managed to record some gameplay of the Assassin, the Gunslinger, Mystic, Sorceress, and Warlord from Playback's Southeast Asian version of the game. That's where the footage you're seeing actually originates from. If you want to see more, you can go check out his video, which will actually be linked in the description below. The combat, although not as smooth as I would personally like, seems like a vast improvement over what I had seen last year, and I'm hoping they continue to work hard at it because after the debacle that was Bless Online, a lot of work needs to be done to earn our trust back. Before MapleStory 2, there existed a cuter, side-scrollier version of MapleStory called, well, MapleStory. For players that opted to remain in the original game, and there were quite a few, trust me, you may be excited to learn that the Black Mage New Beginnings actually launched earlier this week and brought with it the traditional Lunar New Year event and other goodies. So if you've been waiting for that, quick, jump back in before the event ends. For those of you unaware of what Pagan Online is, well, I guess think Diablo or Path of Exile. Yep, we have another competitor ready to enter the ring, and from what I've seen, Pagan Online actually looks pretty damn cool. They've had a few little issues recently after launching their stress test for their servers, what with their servers actually crippling under the pressure, but nevertheless, the team behind Pagan Online are working hard behind the scenes. I'll be ready during their next stress test and hopefully get some footage for everyone interested. Otherwise, see you guys in there. Now, I'm not sure if fans will actually be happy that they'll be receiving more frequent content or upset that it won't be of the same caliber in this update from the team behind Warframe. They went on to state that the studio will actually have an increased focus on ongoing, shorter turnaround content for the game, as opposed to their well-received, slower, larger content updates players have actually become accustomed to after all this time. Now, this doesn't mean that the content itself will suffer as a result, it just means that it will come out faster and in smaller doses. They also went on to elaborate on the new trio of Warframes being added into the game, two of which are named the Hildren and the Wisp, along with new types of dailies and weekly challenges. The Plains of Duviri, bringing with it a new area and faction, a remaster of Gas City and New War, their next cinematic quest, a new Melee 3.0 revamp, better player experience, and honestly, there's just so much being added to the game that it's probably more worth it to just go and watch the video yourself. I neglected to mention this update the last couple weeks purely because I'd forgotten about it, but everyone's favorite MMO to hate on, Tree of Savior, rolled out their Rebuild update earlier this month. Rebuild was a tremendous update, adding with it large overhauls to both the game's current class and rank systems, which is actually far too much information to really accurately go into. New endgame content in the form of 2 raids, Barotos Kappas, and a new raid within the Astral Tower. For those of you on the fence about trying Tree of Savior out, now is the opportune moment to jump right in. I'm not 100% certain really what to classify this one as. The Steam page and the devs behind the game list it as a nomadic survival MMO. But survival games and MMOs are usually very different from one another. Regardless, Last Oasis is a clan-based survival MMO that combines a global player-driven economy, an innovative vehicle system, as well as complex combat and war mechanics, all working at an MMO scale. I'm not sure what to really make of this though, as I couldn't imagine a game like Ark or Rust, but on the scale comparable to an MMO. Thousands of players all trying to build or tame or conquer and subsequently vying for control in huge PvP skirmishes. I guess I'm gonna go ahead and add this to my list of skeptical Ark clones that could maybe perhaps even be potentially alright someday. Regardless of whether or not you love or hate Battle for Azeroth, Blizz have launched their new Battle of Dazar'alor raid, finally for normal and heroic raiders to tackle, along with Season 2 of PvP, Mythic Plus dungeoning, and ultimately provided an all-new incentive for new gear hunting. Kinda. Dazar'alor actually looks like it could be highly entertaining. I've begun attempting it in normal right now, as I am definitely not capable of a heroic without having first cleared it on normal, and I gotta say, it has been a blast so far. The raid, that is. The rest of the game is still the same, so if you hated it a week ago, other than some cool new bosses and fights, it's pretty much the same game. For fans of mobile MMOs, you may be happy to know that yet another MMORPG, Rebirth M, launched on iOS and Android devices on the 24th. Like all mobile MMOs, Rebirth M is free to play and is more or less the same as every other mobile MMO on the market. They claim that they are redefining the MMORPG genre, but they still offer auto combat, auto pathing, and lockboxes. In Anthem related news, or EA related news rather, I guess, Anthem's VIP demo went live yesterday, and apparently yeah, they weren't really quite prepared for the influx of players, with EA apologizing for server capacity errors. Thankfully, the players that managed to get in are singing the game's praises, so word of mouth is mostly positive. If EA can get their shit together, well, on second thought, maybe not, considering they didn't even anticipate how many servers would be required to run the demo. But you know what? Either way, EA have assured players that they are working hard on adding more server capacity to the demo right now. Hopefully they learn from this and take precautions for launch, which is probably going to have even more players. Astellia wants to be a part of the change. Words that every MMO fan wants to hear, but at the same time begrudgingly shrugs off because we've heard it all before. False promises of something different. The team behind Astellia took the time at PAX South to go over a few differences between the South Korean release of Astellia and the Western one we're going to be getting later this year. The team themselves confirmed that the South Korean version of Astellia has pay-to-win microtransactions found in the store, and in an attempt to circumvent that, they have plans on releasing Astellia Online as buy-to-play in the West, similar to what NeoWiz did with Blast Online. The items that were found in the South Korean cash shop will be made readily available in-game through dungeon drops, daily rewards, and achievements. The team also elaborated on gender locking, stating that they have plans on removing gender locking in their Western release of the game eventually, as they further went on to note that it might not be finished by launch. Yeah, kinda like how NeoWiz said that we'd be getting the Mystic class and all the other classes at the official launch. I don't know. I'm gonna remain skeptical, but you know what? We'll see what happens. Project Genom, I don't know, is a sci-fi MMO that was announced and released a while back to very lackluster sales. Project Genom was riddled with bugs and was considered by many to not even be close to being in a fully playable state. This prompted the team behind the game to announce their plans to temporarily close the servers while they take appropriate measures to improve the game, all on a $500 per month budget. So, I'm gonna be honest here, I'm gonna give credit where credit is due. Good on you guys for pushing through, even with the state the game is in, and even with such poor sales and earnings. Now, there's not really much in the way of Red Dead Online, but their Battle Royale, the mode that every developer and their mother seems to want in on these days, has actually received some updates to assist in matchmaking. Furthermore, Rockstar are working on a content update with a large variety of changes and improvements to the game. Finally, if you're in the mood for some free gold bars, now's the time to log in. Path of Exile's latest patch introduced various bug fixes that have plagued the game since the launch of their Betrayal update, while providing a few quality of life improvements like a reduced cost of hideout decorations. But that's not what's important about this entry. Instead, the team announced that they are already hard at work preparing an early look at their next expansion that will accompany patch 3.6. This early look will likely be released sometime mid-February. The PS4 port of Path of Exile will also be launching around the time 3.6 hits, so get ready to welcome our console cousins. Pantropy, for unaware fans, is another sci-fi themed MMO FPS. After a successful Kickstarter campaign, the team behind Pantropy have been hard at work preparing the game for early access, which is slated actually for next week on January 31st. They're currently putting the finishing touches on server performance and networking right now in hopes that the early access will be as smooth as possible. Because you know if it isn't, the Steam launch is going down the drain along with its future. I believe that this is the very first time I've ever talked about Star Trek Online in a news video, which is surprising. Equally as surprising is the fact that any of Perfect World Entertainment's games are still alive. But I digress. Star Trek Online released its new Mirror of Discovery update earlier this week that brought with it 2 new featured episodes, improved hair and skin textures, new anniversary challenges, and more. They're also holding a week of free giveaways for players interested, and who doesn't like free stuff? Black Desert Online will finally be launching onto the Xbox One on March 4th. Pre-orders are available via the Microsoft Store, and players will be given early access if they pre-order through it. Packages range from $30 to $100 and feature various differences in rewards offered. I will be there personally recording footage from the game before it launches onto the Xbox One officially, so keep an eye out. And there's probably more that I missed somewhere, but that finally sums up everything that happened over the course of the last week. At least that I was made aware of. And man, I gotta say, that was a lot. I almost broke it into 2 parts again, but, you know, ultimately opted not to. Anyway, guys, that is it for me. Thank you all for watching, and I'll see you all next time. Peace. Thank you for watching this video. If you enjoyed it, drop a like, leave a comment, consider subscribing to my channel over here, checking out another video, or following both Wiggy and I on Twitter at ByteStix or at ByteWiggy to just chat or hang out.